Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I thought we'd have a little life update. First things first, let's address the makeup. I know I'm going to get a lot of questions. Let me just zoom in for you. My lighting is awful. My room is a mess, so you probably can't see this properly. There will be a picture on my Instagram, no filter. We don't like to put loads of filters over my Instagram photos, but I use the Riviera palette by Anastasia. Some of these are pressed pigments and they will stain your eyes. This purple colour is one of those. So that's that. Long time no see. Last video was just after my holiday. Since then there have been some awesome things that have happened, some not so great things that happened. I will also touch on like a couple of bits maybe that stopped me from uploading before. First things first, I know I don't owe you guys an explanation of any kind because you guys know this isn't my normal job and I do it for fun. So I get that, but if I disappear for a little bit and you've been enjoying uploads and stuff, then I think it's just nice to come on and have a little bit of a chit chat with you. So as some of you know, my granddad passed away I think about 3 months ago now, and we were very, very close, and I didn't post anything on my Instagram about it, but my mum did, so any of you that follow my mum probably were aware of that. He was very ill for a long time. He had COPD, like emphysema. He still smoked. He was really frail. He'd had a bypass. He'd had a couple of heart attacks. He was still like a, you know, the cheeky chappy Irishman who still continued to drink and smoke because he's too old to give up. That was kind of him. He was a champion snooker player. He wasn't allowed to turn pro because in those days it was no blacks, no dogs and no Irish, and that was kind of the attitude at the time, which is a real shame. But he did play some of the absolute greats from the 60s, and he was a really cool guy, and I have been kind of, I guess, being brave with my mum. It's really interesting how everyone deals with grief differently. My mum's been quite unwell recently as well. She's been having a lot of sort of head pain, so we've discussed things like trigeminal neuralgia, could it have been a brain tumour, you know, stuff like that, and she's got the all clear, but she still has chronic pain. So my kind of inner mummy, even though she's my mummy, is to kind of protect her from everything, especially because I am an adult now. So I kind of wasn't showing perhaps that I was really upset. So we had a really interesting conversation about how she was almost disappointed because I hadn't sort of shown any emotion about it, and she was disappointed because it kind of upset her more that she's been openly distraught because obviously that's her dad, and I haven't been, basically, because I don't want to be upset around her, I guess, which is ridiculous, I know, because I feel like that's her dad and I want to support her. So I also had to go like straight to work. We were expecting it, it happened, and less than a week later I was in Germany for 5 days by myself. So it's been interesting dealing with that, especially having had time off where I'm not at work. I've been studying things, as you will have seen on my Instagram. So I think I kind of slowed down a little bit on the uploads and kind of glossed over what had happened and sort of didn't mention it because I found it tricky to deal with, and I am a hermit crab, and I like to kind of stay in my little bubble and not talk to anyone or see anyone when I'm feeling that way. So that's probably a little bit of part of it. Second of all, you may have noticed that I was in Bath for 3 weeks and I was doing the Bath Academy of Media Makeup, Special Effects and Prosthetics course. I know a lot of you did comment on my Instagram picture that I posted, so thank you very much for your support and love. There is the certificate to prove it. So we did do things like sculpting, production, application of pro bondo, wounds, face casting, bald caps, tattoos, silicone prosthetics, working with things like 3rd degree, all that kind of stuff, which was very interesting and exciting. And I already had experience with a lot of these things. I had just come off working on a short film with my wonderful friend Andy, who has also been on this channel, the one I used to live with. Check him out. I'll leave all his handles and stuff down here for you if you want to go and give him a follow. We had just done something very exciting, which I will, when I have stuff that I can put out, show you guys. So that required like blisters and things, and sort of full hair and makeup and like dirtying down and stuff like that. And we had a horse, and it was all very like, it was very cool. So I'd just come off doing that. We were shooting for 5 days in Wales. It's not a lack of experience, but it's kind of the first time I've actually had to use multiple sets of skills. You know, I feel like I could do a really nice beauty makeup on set with my eyes shut, frankly, at this point. And as a massive horror fan, it's just something that I'm so fascinated by. So it's really helpful to be able to do those, what we would consider to be out of kit makeup, so things that don't require doing you know, pre-planned, pre-made prosthetics and things like that, but working with things like 3rd degree, direct applied things, bruise gel, stuff that you can sort of whack out in sort of 10-15 minutes, that kind of thing. So that was really helpful. We had Angela Williams, who is, I think she is the supervisor for Hollyoaks, so she's working all the time. She's a very busy lady, and she was really lovely. We also were taught by Kirsty Stanway, who I believe is the makeup designer or supervisor, you know, she's the big wig on Casualty, so that's really cool. And then we had my dear Darren Longthorne, who I think was my favourite. He's a really awesome, like, Mancunian, loves a bit of banter. He's very kind of like straight talking, but like really jokey, and he had re-sculpted the Brit Award with Vivienne Westwood. Like, how fucking cool is that? He's worked on all sorts of like amazing things as well. I don't know, like I loved working with Kirsty and Ange, and they really reminded me of kind of, Ange especially, really kind of, she had that very like mothering, like nurturing quality, but was equally just very honest with you about your work as well, which I really appreciate, that kind of like tactful sort of delivery, but was really conscious to make sure that you were really getting there with your, you know, making your edges perfect. And she just had a really lovely way about her. And Daz, like, he's just such a laugh. And the passion is really clear, and that kind of got me really excited about the things that we were doing. So I had an amazing experience doing that. I will do a separate video on it for you guys. I'm sure a lot of you are really interested in that. But as far as my makeup is concerned, you guys know that my full-time job is modelling, and that does keep me busy. In fact, I'm off for a shoot next week in Germany. Surprise, surprise. And that will continue to be my full-time job until someone says that I can't do it anymore. But I did want to start to think about something that perhaps would be a bit more creative, give me some more sort of creative control over you know, some nice projects and things, especially because Andy's directing now, and that is going to sort of open some doors for me to do like more work, get more experience. I've done a few sort of weddings. I'm doing a wedding where I'm bridesmaid as well for my one of my best friends, Jade. She's getting married at the start of December, so I shall be in charge of making her face even more stunning than it already is. She's gorgeous and a wonderful human to boot. So I have been doing sort of bits and pieces, but modelling kind of takes up most of my time, and I wanted to have the option to do TV and film as well as you know, doing people's makeup for their parties, or doing some face painting, Halloween makeup, a nice beauty makeup, you know, makeup for headshots, or doing that sort of kind of e-commerce style things on set that are, you know, generally, oh, can we have a nice beauty makeup and a pop of colour on the lip or something like that, do you know what I mean? So I feel like I already had that in my arsenal, so I could kind of walk into something like that and do it to a high standard. I really wanted to get these special effects stuff, and also just for me it's more fun. I love blood and gore. I'm a massive fan of those kind of 80s movies, and kind of the history of like makeup and how prosthetics has become such an amazing kind of area to work in. You know, looking at people like Dick Smith, who did The Exorcist, and people like Tom Savini. There's a really interesting documentary actually that Dad's recommended for us. I will leave a link down below. It is available to watch free on YouTube. Just really, really interesting stuff. So I had an absolutely amazing time doing that. And as you can see, qualified. I will leave you some links and stuff down below, so if you want to have a quick look and you're sort of in the UK area, you think you might want to do something like that, then I will leave a link down below for you. I highly recommend it, and I will be doing a complete breakdown of the course, the tutors, and how I found the overall experience in a separate video. Next thing to talk about is, as you can see, I'm in a completely different background and I have moved house. So we were renting. I live with my parents. I have done for a few years now, sort of trying to get back on my feet after I was ill, and I changed agencies and all sorts, and London's just very expensive. I'm lucky enough to be in a position where my parents were able to have me back at home. And although I love them to bits, I am a 26-year-old woman in a serious and loving relationship with a man in his 40s who is very, you know, I'm ready to not be here. I travel the world by myself and it feels a little bit suffocating, to be honest. Nothing to do with my parents at all, just everything to do with sort of being ready to not be under their roof, because no matter how hard everyone tries to sort of adjust to the fact that I'm an adult living in their space, I'm always going to be their child. And so especially for my mum, bless her, it will always kind of kick in, like, what time are you going to be home? Do you have your key? Sometimes I don't have my key, so like, thanks mum, actually. But you know, just little things like that where I don't know what I'm doing, and if I lived by myself or I was living out of home, it wouldn't make a difference. I just get on with doing my stuff. Whereas I know it's sort of considerate to do that, but equally, like, I have a key as long as I'm not coming in ridiculously late. So like, I might not have plans laid out yet, because my sort of lifestyle is all over the place because I have a weird job, and my parents work very normal kind of 9 till 5 jobs, and that can make it really tricky. I know that I will be exactly the same as a parent, because you never stop being a parent no matter how old your kids are. But it is weird and I'm so ready to leave. So my boyfriend had purchased a property for us to move into, that was a sort of more family sized house than the flat that he's going to keep, but yeah, and now that is not happening due to various bits and pieces that went on. So I was going to move with my parents like I have, and then shortly afterwards, within sort of the next couple of months, be moving in with him because we would have sort of completed and stuff. That's not happening anymore, so we are back to house hunting. Buying a house is a long process and it's sometimes really complicated and all of that kind of stuff, but at least like his mortgage and stuff is all in place now, so that might make things easier. Hopefully we'll find something that we both really like, and live happily ever after. The plan is to, in a couple of years' time, get me on the property ladder and buy something that's maybe like a 1 or 2 bed together to get me on the property ladder as well. So I'm just trying to sort of clear any debt I had from being ill and making sure my credit score is really good and saving as much money as possible, and just really trying to open up doors with sort of makeup as well, so when I'm not busy with modelling that I have other things, other ways of earning money as well. So that's kind of the plan. I'm not going to lie, I was quite upset that we're not buying the house that we saw. It was never perfect, it was more of like an investment thing, maybe rent it out later, that kind of thing. But I think I was just so excited about the prospect of him coming home to me and being able to see him all the time. Basically, being away for those 3 weeks really kind of made me realise how important he is to me. Now, you know, we've been together for about 1.5 years, so I know that he's very important to me, and my family adore him, and all of that is really important as well. But we've, you know, I'm about 2.5 hours on a train away from him, or an 1.5 hours driving. And that distance, when he particularly works very, very hard and does long hours, really does make a difference when I'm busy too, and I can't just kind of go over for 3 or 4 days at a time. And yeah, so it's been really tricky lately. Like, we are amazing, but I've just really kind of struggled, and I think he has a bit as well, with not seeing each other. And it's making me a bit sad, to be honest. And I'm so ready to just like be in together and come home to each other, and you know, it will just be really nice. Last thing to update you on is that I have gone plant-based. My boyfriend watched The Game Changers, and he comes from a bodybuilding background. He used to compete, he doesn't anymore, but he still trains very hard. He's really into his health and fitness, and always has been. But coming from a, you know, chicken, rice and spinach 5 times a day kind of background, with your protein powder and stuff on top, and like eggs and fish in the morning, you know, very kind of protein heavy, quite animal product heavy. That bodybuilding background is typically kind of meat, rice and green veg, and that is predominantly his kind of dietary background. And so having him come to me and say that he's going to go vegan was a bit of a shock. If I had bet money on someone not to do that, it would probably have been him. Maybe that's unfair actually, because he's very conscious of the environment, hence that's why he never ate red meat to start with. But I did find it really interesting. I come from a background where I used to be completely sort of vegetarian and then eat fish sometimes. So, okay, let's call it pescatarian. And my thing is that I could easily be vegan if it wasn't for cheese, because I fucking love cheese, and that is the only thing that would kind of stop me, is like having my cheese and pickle sandwich, or a little bit of boursin, or like the blue cheese at Christmas time. But seeing as though my boyfriend watched this, and then I watched it with him and he watched it a second time, we both found it really interesting, the supposed health benefits and things of going vegan. I am from now on going to describe myself as plant-based, because vegan to me is a lifestyle. It's a much easier way of me explaining that to my friends who don't understand the difference, because I still wear leather. I, you know, would go to a zoo or whatever. I think their conservation's brilliant. There are certain things that perhaps don't fit in with the vegan lifestyle that I still do, and therefore I would hate to be completely and utterly attacked basically every time I slip up or something is not wholly vegan. So to be honest, the only thing that I'm missing is cheese. I drank a lot of like alternative milks just for like taste anyway, just because I like it better. Really isn't a difficult switch for me, as someone that comes from a background where I cook a lot of my own meals myself. I'm quite nifty in the kitchen, and this kind of transition has not been difficult at all. But what I will say is that when I'm travelling, things like that, if there's not proper, you know, vegan food available or whatever, then I will be having to adjust here and there at work. That's something that I can't help. I will endeavour to bring my own things and let clients know ahead of time. However, that's just not always possible, frankly. And anyone who leaves horrible militant vegan type comments on any videos or Instagram posts or anything like that will be immediately blocked, because we don't need that kind of negativity here, and I don't think that that is helpful, pleasant, or an intelligent way of spreading the message that we are trying to save the planet and encourage less cruelty to animals. I just don't think it is. If you want to watch Game Changers, then I suggest that you do. It's really interesting. It is filmed very clearly in a biased manner, I'm not going to lie to you. It's you know, you can spot it a mile off. Anyone with a brain will be able to spot that. However, it is one of those things that if you do your own independent research, or you know anything about your body or food or, you know, whatever, the science is there. A plant-based diet, as long as you are supplementing for B12 and you are eating enough, because that's one thing that people don't do when they often go plant-based or vegan to start with, is, you know, that's where people slip up. They think, oh god, all I can eat is salad now. That is so untrue. It's better for you. There's a reduction in inflammation in the body, a reduction in risk to cancers, all sorts of things. So the science is there, whether you like the way that the Game Changers is filmed or not. But it is really interesting kind of having a look at athletes and the impact on their performance and things like that. So if you're into science and stuff, then it might be interesting for you. I'm not going to turn into one of those preachy plant-based or vegan people. That's just not my style. You guys probably already know that. This is going to be like a safe space where I can, you know, teach how to make a mushroom bolognese and then tell you may as well give it a go. Maybe try it with the family once a week and go meat-free for a meal. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of my vibe. I feel like any reduction in your imprint on the world is brilliant and should be applauded, rather than going, oh my god, you're a disgusting animal killer, how can you do that, you know that eggs are chicken periods. Who can tell me who says that all the time? Yeah, I think there's a way to do it, and that is not it, freely. So there you go. You know, none of those things encourage me to go vegan. What encouraged me was the science and the fact that my boyfriend, who I didn't think would, did. And yeah, that militant kind of attitude where you are tearing other humans apart and being really offensive or swearing or name calling and all of that kind of shit is unhelpful, immature, and just unnecessary, frankly. And as far as I'm aware, never turned anyone to do anything. So yeah, really not the attitude we need on this channel. So I just wanted to clear that up. If you are going to be leaving comments like that, you'll be banned. Simple as. And yeah, I think that's about it, really. With regards to my channel, I feel like I'm going to be doing more sort of reviews on upcoming makeups, maybe discussing the implications of us buying so much crap, stuff being released constantly. Anastasia Beverly Hills, I'm looking at you. This shit has been crazy lately. Maybe going to be doing a series on like things you don't need to keep buying. Forgive my background, it's a fucking mess. I'm just gonna look at this. This is really tidy. Yeah. This is what I'm dealing with. So yes, but the boys are fine. Check out my Reptile channel. I'll be uploading more stuff on there soon. I really hope that you've enjoyed this little update. If you have any questions for me, that would be really helpful. I'm planning to do a Q&A as my next video on this channel. You can get as personal as you like. That's fine. So please do leave me your questions for the Q&A down below. I'm also going to be doing a series on like periods and like period cups and stuff like that as well, which I think you guys might find interesting. I really do want to get into those kind of like more taboo topics. I don't find them difficult to talk about. It's, you know, I'm kind of the one out of my friends that if they have like a weird problem or like an embarrassing problem, then they come to me. So I really have no qualms about talking about stuff like that on the internet. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. If you have any video suggestions like that, then leave them down below, and also definitely give me your question answers, as if like relationships, house move, reptile care, beauty things, plans for Christmas, career goals. Leave them all down below for me. Please do give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button if you're not part of the Janes family. Go and head over to my reptile channel as well to see more of Gary and Fred. As you can see, they made it through the move. Fred is just over there. They're both doing really well. Check out my second Instagram as well, _Hanzilla, if you want to see how they're doing. And of course, go follow me on my normal Instagram, which is hannahjojanes. I will see you in the next one.